I want you to be honest with people. What are you going to do? Are you going to become the austerity Prime Minister if you win the election?
It'd be an awful inheritance if we're privileged enough to come into power. They've damaged the economy, they've damaged our public services, and we have to change that. I ran a public service, so I don't need anybody to tell me how important it is that our public services are properly supported and properly funded. We have to ensure that we've got an economy that is thriving, because at the bottom of all of this is the fact that the economy's been stagnant for 40
I know you want to grow
years.
the economy,
So
but that's not going to happen on day one. You know, I want Sheffield Wednesday to win the Premier League. I know it's not going to happen this season. You know,
but there's a lot of things we can do very quickly. The changing the planning regulations and rules can be
come
done
on.
very, very quickly.
Councils are going bust.
The National Wealth Fund.
Councils are going bust now.
Yes.
There's a 5.5 year, and I know you'll care about this, there's a 5.5 year average wait from a rape being committed to that person seeing justice.
The sponsors of the Labour Party seem to be seeking to destroy British heritage, and these are not just words. They are an alarming reality. Yes, you heard right. Everyone is already tired of what is happening. Starmer, who once seemed like a reliable leader, is now losing support even among his own MPs. He is on the verge of retirement, and this realization weighs on him like a stone on his heart. His control over the Labour Party is weakening every day, and the semblance of unity is disintegrating before our eyes. But behind closed doors, a completely different, dark story is unfolding. Who among the party members is ready to challenge him? How shaky has his leadership become? The internal struggle in the Labour Party is becoming more and more obvious, and the evidence suggests that secret leadership campaigns are already in full swing. While Starmer is trying to cope with the growing national problems, some party members are secretly uniting against him, plotting intrigues.
What are you going to do straight away if you're in number 10? Be honest. Are you going to borrow more? Or are you going to enact austerity?
Well, where we are going to be able to put money into our public services, we've been clear that we'll do that. So when it comes to the NHS, 2 million reduction in the waiting lists by the scheme that we've got to work 24/7. With our schools,
I'm not talking
getting
about the
rid
initial.
of VAT so we can put more teachers into our schools
1.7 billion
desperately
pounds.
needed.
IFS is 20 billion pounds in public services, and you're not being honest about what you're going to do. This is your chance. Tell people.
We need to ensure that the economy is growing. We can turn
It's
that
not
around.
going to happen on day one.
Please, just hear me out.
It's
You're
not
telling
though.
me
It's not.
Planning can be changed very, very quickly. That will have a massive impact on growth. The second thing is our National Wealth Fund, which will bring in private investment. I talk to private investors all of the time.
Angela Rayner is becoming an increasingly prominent figure and a potential contender for a high position. Rumours that she and Starmer may be competing for the leadership are spreading rapidly, creating tension in the ranks of the party. The internal dynamics of the Labour Party are undergoing drastic and alarming changes. Influential MPs such as Liz Kendall and others may start openly challenging Starmer, which will only exacerbate factional divisions and divisions within the party. Andrew Marr, a former BBC political journalist, warns that poor results in local elections can cause a real panic among MPs, leading to a surge in personal ambitions and factional manoeuvres in the cabinet. As for the local elections, the leaks hint that the Labour government is considering the possibility of postponing them. The upcoming elections will be a real test for Starmer's leadership. Poor results can not only increase discontent within the party but also jeopardise his leadership. In addition, it became known that one of the members of the Labour Party dared to speak out against him. Although the identity of this informant remains in the shadows, his revelations could have a devastating impact on Starmer's political future. As internal conflicts continue to flare up, anxiety and uncertainty about the future of the Labour Party and its role in Britain are in the air.
And they say to me, Keir, we've got the money to invest right now in your country, but we're not going to do that because we don't see the stability. We don't see the conditions in which we're going to invest.
Notice there that Starmer talks about the National Wealth Fund, which by the way, will need money. You can't just have a National Wealth Fund. We'll invest in places, but we won't capitalise it with any money. He conflates the National Wealth Fund with stability. They're two separate things, Sir Keir.
Critics furiously accuse the Labour Party of short-sightedness, arguing that they thoughtlessly ignore the need to restore historic buildings, preferring to demolish them. This raises serious questions about the influence that rich donors have on party politics. Are we really witnessing how the views of donors determine the course of the Labour Party? This whole situation creates a deep split within the party. which is becoming more and more obvious. On the one hand, there are modernizers who want to change Britain, and on the other, there are those who cherish our cultural heritage. This makes us wonder what other radical ideas might be hiding behind the scenes and influencing the Labour Party. While the Labour Party is trying to sort out this mess, they are under scrutiny like never before.
Just getting back to this defence budget, Starmer knew he wasn't going to put that up. I don't care what anyone says. He will have predicted, he'll have enough experts whispering in his ear and saying this is the situation. He more than implied that, you know, the defence departments were going to get a fair share of money. They were going to be up in the ante. There was going to be new investment with them, bearing in mind the decline they've been in for the last 12 years or so, and it ain't going to happen. And you know what? He knew it wasn't going to happen. That almost verges on lies.
People are asking difficult and painful questions about who they are as a party and what their vision for Britain's future is. And let me say that the answers, or lack of them, are deeply disturbing. This is not just a PR stunt by the Labour Party. It raises much more serious issues regarding their position on British culture and values. And, as we'll see soon, this is just the beginning when it comes to how Labour is addressing cultural issues. Labour's cultural shifts is leading to a growing rift with its traditional supporters. They promote policies that sound great in universities and seminars, but don't resonate at all in working-class communities. Although issues of gender identity and climate change are important, they are far from the pressing issues that concern many Labour Party voters, such as jobs, housing and food security.
13% of the asylum seekers, or the people who claim asylum, in the European Union. Now, that could take us to about 180,000 a year. What he will succeed in doing is reducing the number of small boat crossings of the Channel. So he will, because in that 180,000 will be the 40+ thousand who would otherwise come across on boats. There may still be some people who come across on boats, those who aren't selected to come here, but essentially we're talking about 180,000 instead of, through various means, including the Channel crossings, probably in the region of 57,000, 60,000 who come over to claim asylum at the moment. Now, does he understand that, yes or no? I think he does, in which case he is lying to the British people. He is manipulating things, and I think he's going after securing the vote of the people who say the way to solve the small...
This contradiction is not just empty talk. It leads to real solutions that alienate their main supporters. For example, the demolition of M&S buildings has become a hot topic of discussion. However, the Labour Party seems to be too caught up in trying to appear progressive to care about our legacy. Political commentator James Price noted that Starmer's confidence in his politics looks inappropriate. Labour's decisions are becoming increasingly unpopular, especially among its traditional supporters. They seem to alienate those who have supported them for generations. This shift is not just causing discontent, it is creating real risks in the elections. The traditional strongholds of the Labour Party are beginning to waver. People who voted for Labour all their lives are now looking at the party and wondering, who are you? There is fierce debate within the party about which direction to move in. Some want to stick to the new progressive agenda, while others are desperate to return to the roots of the Labour Party. This creates internal disagreements. Starmer does not help the situation by stating that he does not regret his policy. Meanwhile, the UK economy is facing stagnation, job cuts, and a cost of living crisis that is hitting working families hard.
At the weekend, I took a microphone and a camera to a high street, and I spoke to a load of pensioners that, you know, some voted Labour, some didn't. But the anger out there is so high. They cannot believe what this government is doing. The optics is terrible. They are living the high life. Keir Starmer has had more freebies than any other MP over the last 5 years. I mean, after what he said in interviews and in Parliament, this is the biggest hypocrite in politics. It's such a bad look, and they are so out of touch with the normal people of this country. And I would have thought that they would have given it a year or so, you know, before they decided to act like this. But it's after weeks. They've got...
As Labour grapples with an identity crisis, the question arises, who really cares about Britain's working people? It seems that the Labour Party is not up to the task. Starmer's management has serious problems. Public opinion polls are disappointing and show that his popularity is rapidly declining. It's not just that the public is losing faith in him. His own party is also starting to turn against him. Andrew Marr, an experienced political journalist, reported that secret leadership campaigns are already underway. While Starmer pretends that everything is fine, his deputies are plotting behind the scenes. If the Labour Party performs poorly in the local elections next May, it could lead to a vote of no confidence or force Starmer to resign. Potential successors are already starting to position themselves. Discontent is growing all over the world. The Labour Party is beginning to realise that Starmer will not be able to win the election. The situation is terrible. 60% of Brits are unhappy with Starmer. When you lose the trust of both the voters and your own party, your days are numbered. What is your opinion about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you.